Honestly, Olivia, darling, running a household is hardly rocket science. The clinking of crystal against bone china echoed through the Chesterfields' Lake Forest mansion, each chime a tiny hammer blow to my carefully constructed composure. Veronica's words, dripping with condescension, hung in the air like the scent of overblown lilies from the centerpiece. My stomach dropped. Years I'd spent cultivating the image of the docile wife, the one who smiled and nodded, the one who organized charity luncheons and remembered everyone's birthdays. Inside, I was screaming. Outside, I remained composed. His mother's dismissive tone had always grated, but tonight it felt different. The air in the opulent dining room suddenly seemed thin, the crystal chandelier a mocking display of wealth I couldn't claim. My hands trembled. A subtle vibration from my phone, hidden deep within my purse, brought a flicker of warmth. A text, deal closed, sterling numbers exceeded projections. A silent victory, ever feel invisible, like your worth's unseen, hit subscribe cause Olivia's about to flip the script. Trust me, the payoff, chef's kiss. January 12, 2012. Tyler proposed amidst a blizzard in Aspen, a romantic gesture orchestrated by Veronica, of course. The diamond, a flawless 8-carat monstrosity, felt cold against my skin, a symbol of the price I was about to pay for entry into their world. The snow fell silently, blanketing everything in a pristine white, a stark contrast to the calculating thoughts swirling within me. "She's perfect, mother, don't you think?" Tyler had asked, beaming. Veronica's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Adequate, dear, adequate." Christmas 2013, the annual Chesterfield family gathering. Tyler received a vintage Aston Martin, a gleaming symbol of his inheritance, parked conspicuously in the driveway. Lauren, his sister, was gifted a sprawling vineyard in Napa. I received a cookbook, signed by Veronica, titled Entertaining for Dummies. The subtle jab was unmistakable, meant to reinforce my perceived inadequacies. The scent of pine needles and simmering resentment filled the air. "Perhaps you can finally learn to boil an egg properly," Veronica purred, handing me the book. I smiled, the bitterness coating my tongue. Summer 2015. The final straw arrived disguised as a garden party. Tyler had been offered a partnership at Sterling Ventures, a position I knew I was far more qualified for. That day, Veronica made a toast, praising Tyler's innate business acumen and downplaying my own professional achievements. "Olivia," she declared, her voice carrying across the manicured lawn, "is such a wonderful support system for Tyler. A wife's devotion is truly invaluable." The champagne tasted like ash in my mouth. My heart sank. It was then, amidst the blooming roses and polite applause, that my plan crystallized. I would not be relegated to the sidelines. The scent of privilege and betrayal hung heavy in the air that day. It was war. Years crawled by, marked by carefully orchestrated successes and continued condescension. Each Fortune 500 deal I closed, each million I quietly amassed, was a brick in the wall I was building, a fortress of independence shielded from their prying eyes. "Another charity luncheon, darling?" Tyler would ask, oblivious to the conference call I'd just concluded with a tech CEO. He had no idea. The silence became my weapon, my strategic advantage. No boasting, no flaunting, no revealing the truth. Just quiet competence, a constant underestimation that fueled my ambition. I had my sights set on them. One stifling summer afternoon, the humidity clinging to everything like a second skin, I received a call from my financial advisor. "The latest investment has matured, Olivia. You've officially surpassed Mr. Chesterfield's net worth." The words hung in the air, a silent thunderclap. I felt a surge of triumph, quickly tempered by the realization that this victory was mine alone, a secret treasure I couldn't share. How could I, with the family looking down on me? Building my empire wasn't without its sacrifices. Long hours spent hunched over laptops in dimly lit hotel rooms, fueled by lukewarm coffee and sheer determination. The ache in my back, the constant exhaustion, the gnawing loneliness of a double life, these were the prices I paid for my secret. The constant fear of discovery, the weight of the deception, threatened to crush me at times. I was living two lives, one for them, one for myself. Then the holidays of 2018 arrived, thick with forced cheer and veiled insults. "Olivia, dear, are you sure you wouldn't prefer to simply relax this year?" Veronica had said, eyeing my swollen belly with thinly disguised disdain. "Pregnancy can be so taxing." The comment stung. a reminder of my perceived infertility, now twisted into a new form of criticism. That night, as the snow fell silently outside, mirroring the snow from when Tyler proposed, and Veronica's face was illuminated by the flickering fireplace, a revelation almost escaped. I nearly blurted out my success, but I remembered my child. The scent of burning pine and smoldering resentment filled the air. Not yet. No reckless move, no premature reveal, no risk to my baby. The game was still afoot. Then the unthinkable. A somber notification flashed across my phone screen, shattering the fragile peace. William Sterling deceased. Funeral arrangements pending. My breath hitched. William, Tyler's grandfather, the family patriarch, the only Chesterfield who had ever shown me genuine kindness, was gone. His funeral, held at the Grand Chesterfield estate, was a suffocating affair. The air was thick with grief, expensive perfume, and unspoken resentments. I watched as Tyler, his face etched with pain, greeted mourners, his shoulders slumped under the weight of his family's expectations. I wanted to reach out, to offer comfort, but the invisible barrier between us felt insurmountable. I'd prepared. Black dress, understated jewelry, composure. Breathe, Olivia. A wave of nausea washed over me. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was now carrying a life while surrounded by death, and the family was so very unaware. Later, after the service, a woman's voice, laced with an unfamiliar warmth, sliced through the din of hushed conversations. Olivia, it was my sister, Sarah. We hadn't spoken in years, not since my marriage to Tyler, a union she had vehemently opposed, deeming the Chesterfields shallow and insincere. I read about William, she said, her eyes searching mine. I'm sorry. It was the first genuine expression of sympathy I'd heard all day. Honestly, Olivia, darling, running a household is hardly rocket science. My lip twitched, the barest hint of a smile threatening to break through. Rocket science? She had no idea. It was time. The will reading, held a week later in the Chesterfield's oak-paneled library, crackled with anticipation. Tyler sat beside me, his hand resting lightly on my knee, a gesture of newfound support that warmed me despite the chill in the room. Veronica, ramrod straight, perched on the edge of her seat, her gaze fixed on the lawyer. The lawyer cleared his throat, adjusting his spectacles. And finally, he announced, his voice resonating in the silent room, to Olivia Sterling, I leave my entire stake in Sterling Innovations, along with controlling interest in the company plus all assets. A pin could have dropped and shattered the room's stillness. Veronica gasped, her face contorting in disbelief. Tyler's jaw slackened. Lauren stared, wide-eyed, as if seeing me for the first time. The lawyer continued, oblivious to the shock he'd unleashed. Mr. Sterling stipulated that this bequest is in recognition of Mrs. Sterling's invaluable contributions to the company's success over the past 5 years, contributions that he noted were often overlooked. I met Veronica's gaze, her eyes narrowed into slits. The color drained from her face. Her carefully constructed facade crumbled, revealing the raw, unadulterated fury beneath. It was beautiful, impossible, she spat, her voice trembling. She knows nothing about business, I took a deep breath. On the contrary, Veronica, I said, my voice calm and steady, I know everything. The power shifted palpably. I was in control now, and they were all about to find out just how much they had underestimated me. You laughed then, you're not laughing now. Veronica's face crumpled. Tyler, tell her, she can't possibly. Tyler stammered, Olivia, what is this? Internally, I reveled in the moment, years of quiet planning culminating in this exquisite tableau of shock and disbelief. Aloud, I simply said, ask your lawyer, darling, or perhaps check the company ledgers, the last 5 years. Lauren, ever pragmatic, was the first to recover, a calculating glint in her eyes. So you're saying, all those deals, the expansions, that was you? Largely, I conceded, allowing a hint of satisfaction to color my tone. My charity luncheons were often just a convenient cover. Silence descended again, thick and heavy. Veronica tried a new tactic. Olivia, dear, surely you understand that running Sterling Innovations is a burden. A woman like you have a family to think of now. She attempted a sickly sweet smile. A burden I seem uniquely qualified to handle, I replied, letting the statement hang in the air. I needed to crush this. Tyler, still reeling, spoke, his voice laced with confusion. But why didn't you tell me? I fixed him with a steady gaze. Would you have believed me, Tyler, or would you have listened to your mother? The question hung in the air, unanswered. Veronica, sensing her control slipping, made one last grab. Olivia, think of the family, the legacy, we can work something out. A generous stipend, perhaps, a foundation in your name. I paused, savoring the moment. No, thank you, Veronica. I think I'll keep the legacy. I have a feeling I can do quite a lot with it. My one-liner hung heavy in the air. It was a full stop. My terms, game over. But there was one last card to play, a strategic element so deeply buried that even I had almost forgotten it. Actually, I added, my voice dangerously soft, there is one thing I require. I paused, letting the suspense build. Veronica's eyes darted nervously, and Tyler looked utterly bewildered. The tension in the room thickened. As the majority shareholder of Sterling Innovations, I explained, I now control the patents to several key technologies used by Sterling Ventures. Technologies, I might add, that are essential to the company's continued operation. A collective gasp filled the room. The blood drained from Tyler's face. The realization hit them like a physical blow. Without those patents, Sterling Ventures would be crippled, its market share decimated, its future uncertain. The tech assets were the foundation of the family. I'm willing to license these patents to Sterling Ventures, I continued, my voice unwavering. Under one condition, Veronica relinquishes her position on the board and publicly apologizes for her actions. To Lauren, to Tyler, and to me. The silence that followed was deafening. The room's temperature plummeted, and the weight of my words settled upon them like a shroud. I watched, impassive, as the full extent of my control dawned on them. I had them. Time blurred. Months later, Veronica, humbled, apologized. Tyler, grappling with past blindness, became a partner, not a pawn. Lauren, an ally. Some Chesterfields remained distant, their attempts at reconnection met with polite but firm boundaries. Olivia channeled her power, transforming Sterling Innovations, championing female leadership. Looking back, freedom bloomed, eclipsing the opulent cage. The weight lifted, replaced by self-worth. Underestimated no more. Feels good, right? If Olivia's triumph resonates, share this. Your story's power, claim it. Rise up, rewrite your narrative.